My name is Trevor. These are my colleagues. And we're going to sit here and talk to you guys about intuitive eating. So, intuitive eating. You guys might not know exactly what intuitive eating really is, but intuitive eating is kind of just the whole process of learning about your body, learning about what it needs, and kind of making peace with it, making peace with your body so that you know how to read your body and you can feel in touch with it. So, a couple of fun facts. The word intuitive eating actually started with conscious eating. And there was actually a book written about it. And Evelyn, she actually was on Good Morning America. And she had like 2.5 seconds to fill up, or 2.5 minutes to fill up, because the next person wasn't going to show up in time. So Evelyn talked about intuitive eating, and the person at Good Morning America thought that she had had a great idea for a book. Hence, the idea of intuitive eating came from Good Morning America, and it was actually just a media glitch. In our survey that we did about intuitive eating, we had about 36 respondents, and 54.5 of them said that they often found themselves multitasking while they ate, or were just doing other things and being busy while they were eating. 30.3% of these people recalled that sometimes they would be multitasking or just doing other things while they ate. So this is a video that we are going to show you guys, and it's kind of about intuitive eating. It'll kind of open up more idea about what it is. It'll help from another point of view.
Get up. Now, a lot of us struggle with managing our weight, but imagine being able to eat whatever you wanted, whenever you wanted, and not suffer from any guilt. It sounds pretty good, but a growing body of science suggests that's what might also be the best thing for your body. It's called intuitive eating, and joining us now to explain is mindful eating specialist, Dr. Rick Korsman. Good morning to you. It's a little bit hard to talk about this when we've got these temptations here in front of us, but this whole idea, it goes flying in the face of exactly what we're taught about. You call it undieting. How does it work?
Yeah. Well, mindful eating or intuitive eating, or what I used to say for 10, 20 years, is eating with awareness. Yeah, the key there is doing the best we can to listen to our body when it's hungry, and then do the best we can to eat when we are feeling hungry. Listen out for when we're feeling comfortably full, and doing the best to stop when we're comfortably full, but also really working out what do we really feel like, and again doing the best we can to have what we really feel like.
Because what's normal in terms of what you feel like eating for one person? One person might think eating donuts, breakfast, lunch and dinner is normal. Someone else might think eating fruit is. It depends on what your normal is, doesn't it?
Look, it does. Most people are aware of what is healthy to eat, and this has been a big push for the last 20, 30 years, is lots of people know what is healthy to eat. But what has happened is lots of people have lost touch with knowing when they're hungry and knowing when they're full. So I've seen like 20 plus years of tens of thousands of patients now who come in and have really lost touch with knowing when they're hungry and knowing when they're full.
And why is that?
It's a combination of reasons why. One is the business of life, is that we just get caught up doing things, and the food often gets left to last. But a very common one is that lots of people over the last 20, 30 years have been on multiple weight loss diets. And what diets do is, in fact, the opposite of what we want. Diets actually say, don't listen to your body, follow our plan, follow our rules. So it's almost with every diet, people get an assault on their own intuition in terms of knowing when they're hungry and knowing when they're full.
So it's confusing and counting calories on the back of packets rather than actually listening to your own body.
So amazing things happen if we can start to trust our body again. So many times people have said to me that they do a lot of what I call non-hungry eating, which is eating people do they're not hungry for. There's been this push to tell people what to do, but there's been no awareness, or very little awareness, of the why. Why are we eating? And so many people are eating when they're not physically hungry. So helping people to be more mindful of this concept of mindful eating, intuitive eating, eating with awareness, can be enormously powerful, because many people for years have lost faith in their body, don't trust their body anymore. And once they get started with eating more mindfully, what can happen is that they realise halfway through a plate, three-quarters of the way through a plate, I'm feeling full now, maybe I can leave the rest of my plate, which gets to like one of the common reasons why we eat when we're not hungry, which is we've always been in the habit of finishing off our plate, or how well many parents said, you must finish off your plate, etc.
So I guess you'd avoid that mantra, no pain, no gain. Depriving yourself of food, not necessarily a good thing.
A bad thing, yes. So we definitely don't want to deprive ourselves of food. I talk about this concept of nutrition and intuition. So it's really great to have a balance between knowing what is healthy, so that's important, but also in addition to that, trusting our body as well. And where guilt comes into it is because people have followed rules for so long.
Yeah.
They break the rule that they've sort of imposed upon themselves, or they've been told they should do, and that can lead to what's called an all or nothing thinking, which is when people say, I've mucked up that rule, I might as well have the whole lot and start again tomorrow. And that just ends up going on and on and on, and people get into this vicious cycle of starting again tomorrow, starting again next Monday, when it would be much better to just take a day at a time, a meal at a time, and really just check in, listen to what do we really feel like and how much do we really feel like.
It's an interesting approach. Thank you for coming in and sharing it with us this morning. And you can read more about intuitive eating in Dr. Rick Korsman's book or on his website as well. Trust yourself, Cam. That's the key.
It makes complete sense, every single word of all that.
Absolutely.
Yep.
That was pretty helpful. I learned a little bit. So, the next slide, I'm going to actually go into a couple methods about ways that we can increase our awareness of the cues to act, or awareness of what we're eating. So, one method is a cue to action. Cue to action is basically anything in your environment or inside of you that is telling you and reminding you of your goal, or the result that you want to see at the end. And what I'm going to talk about is a good cue to action that I find in my own house. My father, he puts sticky notes on everything. You'll find it on my refrigerator, you'll see it outside my door, and every time I see them, it reminds me of something I have to take care of. So I'll walk outside my dad's house, I'll see a sticky note right there. It says, don't forget to let the dogs out. I got to go take the dogs out. So I'm going to go take the dogs out, I'm going to do that. Another cue to action that could apply in this situation is if you put a sticky note right on your door, and right before you leave to go to class, you could look, oh, I see a sticky note. Oh, you know what? I need to go prepare my next meal for tomorrow, so that I'm not walking out that door until my meal is prepared. Another way is you could put a water bottle in your backpack. You could put that the night before you go to class, so that when you look in your backpack, you have that water bottle there. And you don't need to think about it. You're already ready to go. You got that water in you. You're ready to go. And you're going to act now. You're going to see that cue to action. You're going to see that sticky note right here on your fridge, right before you open it up. And it's going to tell you, don't forget, you got to eat your fruits and vegetables. So some types of cue to actions. There's numerous. Just what is it telling you in your environment that you need to do something. So the external cue, that's the environment. It's a mass media. It's a political campaign that you see on TV. It's a commercial. It's any kind of social influence. Something that you're experiencing in your immediate environment. An internal cue is something that's inside of you. It's something maybe you ate too much milk the night before, or you ate too many popsicles the night before because you were just binging watching Titanic last night. And you were just wanting to keep eating, and your body wakes up the next morning and you don't feel good. You got some diarrhea, you're just feeling yucky, you just need to sit on the toilet, and you're holding on. You're maybe just laying in bed waiting just for it to go away. It's a cue to action. You feel that, you just want to get it out. The general type, just general, it could be events, it could be people, it could be anything that you encounter in your life. Anything that will just remind you, oh yeah, I got to do this. Oh yeah, I need to do that. So I'm going to pass it off to my next colleague, Chelsea, and she's going to talk about some environmental influences that kind of influence and add to overeating.
All right, thank you, Trevor. So now I'm going to go over some environmental influences and factors that we're faced with on a daily basis that help contribute to how we eat, what we eat, where we eat, all has to do with it. I'm also going to go over some tips today on how to overcome these barriers in the environment that we're faced with. So eating is influenced by the environment rather than consciousness. Studies show that larger portions, you'll tend to eat more, like looking at that plate right there. If you have all that food on your plate, you're more likely to eat all the food until it's gone. Also, the amount of food consumed increases while the effort to eat it decreases. Eating with others also People tend to eat more, eating in a group rather than eating by themselves. And also clearing your plate, eating until everything is gone. That goes back to portion sizes. Looking at that plate, you see all that delicious, yummy food, you're gonna want to eat all of it by seeing it on your plate. Rather than having a smaller portion, you won't tend to eat it as much. All right, so approaches to environmental cues that encourage eating, again, is decreasing portion sizes. So maybe instead of that full plate of food, you can have a quarter of that size, and I'm sure you would still feel full. There's a lot of food on that plate. Also, limiting access to ready-to-eat foods, such as these foods right here. These are sometimes foods, easy freezer foods that you can pop in your microwave. These foods are empty calorie foods as well, which are going to make you hungrier throughout the day and just want to continue to eat more. These foods are also high in fat, which is going to make you want to crave fat the rest of the day. Sugar, carbohydrates, you're going to crave those more junk foods rather than if you were eating carrots and hummus or a healthier snack. Also, limiting snack foods in the workplace or at school, especially if you're a secretary or if you work in an office and maybe you have tables around, you're going to be more wanting to have your chips there or have your snack there and continue to eat on it all day if it's within hand's reach. And also decreasing food advertising, like looking at the Dunkin' Donuts slogan right here, or the Carl's Jr.'s commercials we see, or the Big Mac commercials that try and promote to eat these foods. I like this saying, real food for your busy lifestyle. All right. Okay, so now we're going to go over some environmental factors that contribute to overeating. So students, especially, studying. All right. How many people find themselves doing this? You're sitting there with your homework, got your notes out, your computer, but you also have your snack out. You're sitting there and you're wanting to eat because you're not controlling what you're eating. So you're sitting there, continuing to eat while you're distracted. You're not thinking about what you're eating. You're not even thinking about the taste or how full you are, or even if you're hungry. Another one is reading. You can be sitting there reading your book, and once again, you have your chips at hand. And you're sitting there, and you're not monitoring or even tasting your food. You're sitting there unconsciously, wrapped up in your book, continuing to eat this entire bag of chips. Also driving. I know that when I go on long road trips, if I have a snack at hand, I'll most likely eat that entire snack just because I'm bored, or another one, or watching TV. That's a huge one. When you're sitting there with your favorite TV show, and you have this bag of chips, you're going to eat the entire bag of chips before you even know it. Another tip is measuring food. Alright, so perfect example of this is when you're sitting there in front of the TV, you could have your ice cream right there, your bag of Oreos, bag of Doritos, and you're just continuing to munch and eat and just continue not even realizing how much you're eating. A good protocol to do for that is to measure your chips, like this right here. By measuring, this is about an ounce of chips in this bowl, and that's the serving size on these chips. So by measuring, you can count how many calories. So by looking at this bowl of chips, I know that there's about 150 calories, rather than 5 servings times 150. All right. So now we're going to go over a few tips on how to curb your appetite, feel fuller longer, and decrease distracted eating. So the first one, how many people eat breakfast daily? Okay, so I do. And I really think that it helps refrain me from wanting to snack on foods throughout the day. By eating breakfast, you're less a healthy, well-rounded breakfast, you're less likely to want to eat foods that are high in fat, sugar, carbohydrates. Another one is snacking on healthy foods. By eating foods high in sugar and fat, you're more likely to crave those foods throughout the day. Rather than maybe eating a piece of fruit or something more sensible, you're more likely to crave those foods throughout the day. Also, healthy fats decrease sugars, which decrease cravings in our body, and that can also help with fluctuating blood sugar, which helps decrease cravings as well. Back to portion sizes. So using smaller plates. The more food you have on your plate, or the bigger your plate is, the more food you're going to stack on your plate. The more food stacked on your plate, the more you're going to want to eat because it's sitting there right in front of you. Exercising. Exercising is a huge one. Rather than just exercising to want to lose weight or build more muscle or whatever it is, exercising is huge for all-around health. By exercising, you decrease the reactions in your body that crave certain sugary and fattening foods. Exercising also helps to increase your mood, feel happier throughout your day, get food cravings off your mind, and help alleviate stress. All right, and mindful eating. So studies have proved that chewing slowly and really tasting your food helps to signal your brain that you're actually full, that you're actually satisfied by really tasting your food, rather than sitting here like I just showed you, not even tasting your food, just throwing chips down your throat as you're reading or writing, not even knowing that you're full, or even if you're hungry. All right, so those are some tips and some environmental issues that we're faced with every day. Now I'm going to touch on something that has nothing to do with weight loss or anything about the body with distracted eating, but something a little more serious. So, along with weight gain, distracted eating can also lead to dangerous and unwanted situations. Like this guy right here. He has his coffee, he's probably on his way to work, he has his breakfast, looks like he might have some other food right there, he might even have his cell phone, and he's probably driving with one knee as he's driving down the freeway, not even realizing what he's doing. That picture up there, that could possibly be him by distracted eating. The shocking statistic that I found is that a new study shows that 80% of all car accidents are caused from eating while driving. Now I'm going to show this little video clip. That kind of ties this together.
A Blacksburg woman is dead after a wreck this morning in Cherokee County. The coroner says Brittany Danielle Smith was headed east on Highway 5 when she went off the side of the road and down an embankment. Her pickup truck overturned. The coroner says it appears Smith was eating while driving and became distracted. She was 24 years old.
Okay, so now you can see the environmental factors that we're faced with really have an effect on the things we choose to eat and when we eat, and even distracted eating can lead to this. Right, now I'm going to switch it over to Christina, and she's going to talk about mindful eating. All right.
Thank you, Chelsea. As she said, I'm going to be talking about mindful eating today. So what exactly is mindful eating? As we all know, eating is a natural, healthy, and pleasurable activity for satisfying hunger. However, in our food-abundant, diet-obsessed culture, eating is often mindless, consuming, and guilt-inducing instead. So simply put, mindful eating is just learning to pay attention. Instead of eating mindlessly, putting food into your mouth, almost unconsciously, not really tasting the food, you are actually noticing your thoughts, feelings, and sensations while eating. So, another point about mindful eating is that mindfulness is awareness without criticism, judgment, or guilt. It's also about noticing hunger and fullness cues. This is really noticing internally when you need food, when you're hungry, and when you're too full to eat anymore. And another important thing is that mindful eating is not a diet. There is no food restrictions. It's more about balancing what you eat, the way you eat it, with how you eat it. So we have here the mindful eating food plate, and as you guys can see, it's just like the my plate. except it's mindful eating pieces put together. So in the top right corner, we have awareness. This is really about tasting versus mindless munching. Are you actually tasting your food, or are you actually just mindlessly eating, as Chelsea was explaining earlier? Next, we have savoring. I really want you guys to notice the texture, aroma, and flavor of your food the next time you eat. Really sit there and notice and savor your food. Also, are you eating in the moment? Are you fully present, or are you, as Chelsea explained earlier, are you doing homework? Are you watching TV? Are you texting? Are you on your phone the whole time while you're eating? It's really important to be in the moment. Next, we have observe. This is about hunger and fullness cues. I really want you guys to notice when you need food, when you're starting to get hungry, and when you are too full to eat. When you reach that point in your meal where you're full. Also, as I stated earlier, non-judgment. Speak mindfully and compassionately. Notice when shoulds, rigid rules, or guilt pop into your mind. I know a lot of us feel guilty when we eat. Maybe we ate too much chocolate cake that day, or we didn't eat any vegetables that day. But it's important not to feel the guilt. Okay, here we have the hunger scale. As you can see, it's numbered from 1 to 10, with 1 being the starving and with 1 being extremely starving, and 10 being so full you feel sick. So we've all been at 1 before. I sadly feel like this a lot during the week when I'm at school because I forget to bring snacks. But this is when our brain doesn't work, we're irritable, we're hangry. It's not a good feeling. And then of course there's 10 where we're so full that we feel sick. We normally feel this way maybe after Thanksgiving dinner or after a nice meal. But my point here is that we should always be at 5 or 6. That's a good range where we're not starving and we're not full. Feeling satisfied, I mean, why wouldn't we want to feel satisfied all the time? So it's important to really, really, really listen internally to your body and see when you need food, when you need a snack, or when you should be done eating. Okay, so a little tip I have to give you guys about hunger and fullness cues is I brought in a couple plates. Here I have a big plate and here I have a small plate. So this week, I want you guys to try one thing. I want you guys to switch to a smaller plate. Because I know a lot of us eat with huge plates, which causes us to get bigger portions. And we do live in a culture where finishing your plate is what we do. But when you get too much food on your plate, it kind of pushes you past your past your fullness cues. So I want you guys this week to try and eat with a smaller plate once this week. This way you can get a smaller portion, and once you're finished with that portion, you can really sit and ask yourself, am I full? And if you're not full, if you're still feeling hungry, there's nothing wrong with getting another portion. So eating with smaller plates really gets you to ask yourself, am I full, or can I eat more? Okay, and I want to do this mindful eating activity. I have some raisins here. I want you guys to pass this around. Each grab a raisin. And I'm actually going to have Trevor come up here and try this and show this in front of the class. But I'm going to take this raisin. I don't know if you guys have done this before, but I'm going to have Trevor do it for me. So, I want you guys, I know I personally don't really like raisins, but I want you to push that aside for a second here as we do this activity. Okay, so at first, I just want you to hold the raisin. I want you to take it in your palm of your hand and between your finger. Focus on it. Imagine you've never seen anything like this before. Imagine that you just dropped in from Mars and you've never seen an object like this before in your entire life. Now I want you to look at it. Just look at it. Take time to really see it. Gaze at the raisin with care and full attention. Let your eyes explore every part of it. Look at the ridges, look at the texture, just look at it. I want you to touch the raisin. Turn the raisin over between your fingers, exploring its texture, maybe with your eyes closed so that your sense of touch can be enhanced. Now I want you to put the raisin up to your nose. Really take a deep smell of the raisin. Notice the aroma or fragrance that may arise, and notice what it does to your stomach. Maybe Trevor's hungry, maybe you guys are hungry, maybe it'll set something off. But now I want you to slowly bring the raisin up to your lips. Notice how your hand and arm know exactly how and where to position it. Gently place the object in your mouth without chewing it. Just put it in your mouth. Notice how it gets into your mouth in the first place. Spend a few moments exploring the sensations of having it in your mouth. Now I want you guys to taste it. So prepare to chew the raisin. Notice how and where it needs to be for chewing. Take a couple bites and notice what happens in your mouth. Notice the taste. If you don't like the taste of raisins, I'm sorry. Now I want you to swallow it. When you feel ready to swallow the raisin, see if you can first detect the intention to swallow as it comes up. Alright, now I want you to feel the raisin going down your throat. Feel it go into your stomach and really feel how it feels. Okay. Well, thank you, Trevor. So to conclude, I just want to say just how important mindful eating really is. Learning to practice mindfulness brings us back into the present moment. And eating obviously is a very, very important part of our daily lives. We do it every day. It's probably one of the most important things in our life is eating. So it's very important just to make the experience good. Because why wouldn't you want a good experience each and every day? So now that I've gone through that, I want to introduce Kirsten. She's going to wrap up our presentation.
Thank you, Christina. So I am going to be talking about Thanksgiving dinner here. What do you notice between these two pictures? What are they doing on the left? Anybody?
They're on their phones out.
They're on their phones, they're distracted, right? Every single person, even the one who cooked the turkey, is distracted and not looking at the turkey on Thanksgiving. How rude. Then over here we have a nice family holding hands, focusing on their meal, and listening to what this little girl has to say. Now this little girl says, we have so much to be thankful for that one day a year is hardly enough. Now, this means that we should not just be celebrating our food on Thanksgiving. We should be celebrating our food in every single meal, every single day. Now, I know that's a lot to ask. So I just want you to notice something for me. Notice how grateful you feel on Thanksgiving for the food that is on your table. You are so very grateful for your favorite dish, your favorite casserole. You might not get it more than twice a year. So it's almost like a gift to you. You feel so thankful that you're able to eat this meal, that you have the privilege to eat this meal. You should be feeling this, turning every single one of your meals into a gift, every single day. So we're going to practice honoring our meal by closing our eyes. I want everybody to close your eyes. I'll do it too. So go ahead and close your eyes. Picture it's midweek, mid-afternoon. It's been a long day. You just got out of school. You have a couple assignments. You have to work in an hour or two. You want to watch your favorite TV show, so that's playing in the background. Your mom is texting you, and you're really, really hungry, and you want to eat before work. Now, do you decide to take your food into all of the hullabaloo that is in your bedroom? No. you go out to the kitchen and you go grab a sandwich. You get the bread, you get the peanut butter, the jelly, your knife. You spread the peanut butter and the jelly on the bread. Put together your beautiful gift of a sandwich for yourself. You get a glass of water, you sit, and you cut your sandwich in whatever shape you want your sandwich to be in. Triangles, squares, in half, whatever that may be for you. And then you just admire your sandwich for 1 or 2 seconds before picking it up, putting that first bite into your mouth, and really savoring and indulging in that first bite, just as Christina walked us through with the raisin. Really noticing those sensations, those feelings that you get from biting into that peanut butter and jelly sandwich. Now, try to do that with every bite to follow, a slow, steady pace of chewing, noticing, swallowing, and checking in with yourself, seeing if you are still hungry, if you still want that next bite, or if you're full and you want to go back to study or getting ready for work, and you don't need that other half of your sandwich or those other pieces of your sandwich until later. Open your eyes. How often do we focus on our food just like that? Does anybody? Not really. We're pretty busy in college, huh? So I want us to try to do this one time in the next week. If we could do that, that would be a huge step in our process. So I want us to now notice all of our take-home messages, Trevor's sticky notes, the hunger scale, the plates, different size plates, both Chelsea and Christina talked about, and how enjoying our food is truly an art. Everybody eats, but not everybody enjoys. So what is one thing that we can do in this next week? What do we think? Anybody?
Smaller plates.
Smaller plates? All right, there's one. Anybody else?
Mindful eating.
Mindful eating. How are you going to be mindful when you eat?
Really take the time to listen to my body as I'm eating.
Take the time to listen to your body. Awesome. Maybe follow that hunger scale and think about when you're really full. Perfect. Well, thank you all for listening to our presentation today. And I hope you've learned something from us about mindful eating.